What's up, everyone? Welcome. I will give just a minute or two here for everyone to get on who's going to join. And Sinuhe Montoya, who will be joining us here in a minute. I'll be pulling up. All right, hold on. Sinuhe, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can. Can you hear me?
All right. I got you. You're on. Okay. What's up, everyone? First things first, if you don't mind, throw where you are coming to us from in the chat. I always like seeing where people are at. So
well, I used to say
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm in like sunny Lakeland, Florida, where it's 80 degrees, and Sinuhe's freezing his butt off in Idaho somewhere.
Yeah, Twin Falls, baby. I used to say San Diego, but now I'm in Twin Falls.
Yeah. So you went from sunny San Diego to Idaho, Twin Falls. So a bit of a different weather thing. All right. Whoa, we got a lot of them rolling in here. Okay. Maryland, Seattle, Washington, Lexington, Kentucky. Whoa. This thing updates quick. Fort Wayne, Indiana, LA, Cali, Minnesota, Wisconsin. That sounds cold. We got another Lakeland, Florida in there. What's up? Washington State, Cincinnati, Toronto. That sounds cold. St. Cloud, Minnesota. Cold.
Hey, you're bashing the cold, but let me tell you, there's no traffic over here, so it's great.
Hey, no, listen, I am not bashing the cold. I like the cold. It gets so hot and miserable in Lakeland in the middle of the summer that I like try to fly other places. So trust me, I'm going to be crying when it gets summertime. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for jumping on and joining us. We'll let you keep rolling in here. Oh man, we got somebody staying up till 1 a.m. in the UK. Thank you, Laurent. Man, what a guy. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this up here. See, I can do this. Look at this guy. 1 a.m. What a trooper. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
I just want to play with the software there. Okay. Well, for those of you who may not know who I am, I'm David Young. I'm the founder of Drone Launch Academy. Our logo is over there, I think, up here. Sinuhe is nice enough to be wearing one of our shirts. I technically have a drone launch shirt on. I don't think you can see it. It's like black on black. If I do like this, you can kind of see it. Anyways, horrible design that I did for this shirt. Sorry. But I technically do that. When I've done live calls in the past, for some reason, people are very concerned with the beverage that I'm drinking. So this is a sparkling water that I have here today. If you see me sipping on this, don't judge me. I'm very thirsty. So I'm David, founder of Drone Launch Academy. I know. I just keep them in the fridge. You buy them in bulk. They're not that bad. But we're from Florida. We have our team kind of spread out. We have courses. Started off with Part 107 prep, but then we started partnering with other instructors to do things like cinematography courses, photo courses, like aerial photography courses, business stuff, and last but not least, roof inspections and solar stuff with drones, which Sinuhe helps with, which is why he's the most qualified person I could think of to come on here today and teach you about how drones are changing roofing and solar. So Sinuhe, why don't you give a little background and intro on yourself?
Well, thank you, David. I really appreciate it. As he mentioned, my name is Sinuhe Montoya, formerly from San Diego, now from Twin Falls, with a lot of pride. And I got to tell you, I used to sell solar and roofing in-home. I'd come out to your house and I'd sit with you for however long you let me. And one of the things I had to do when it came time to put together the sale is get on the roof and measure things. Make sure that I wasn't missing any vents, make sure that my measurements were correct because I was using satellite imagery at the time. And just one thing led to another. This was in 2014, 2013 timeframe. I realized that drones were becoming more accessible and ubiquitous throughout, the realm of technology. And I purchased a small little device that I mounted a camera onto. It was all jerry-rigged, very primitive, if you will. And I just realized how much easier my job would be if I introduced this kind of technology into what I was doing. And here we are.
Sweet. Awesome. And we're going to get into, I'm going to let Sinuhe dive a lot more into his story here a little bit later so you can understand how he got from there to where he is now. But just first, I wanted to go over, what we're going to be learning today, right? So you might be here because drones are, the last several years have been getting way more popular, right? New drones coming out, feel like new technologies, drones are being used for different and more things every day, right? So a lot more people are becoming interested in that. So you might be wondering, oh, hey, I want to learn more about drones. And that's great because we're going to teach you for the first, I don't know, probably 40, 45 minutes of this. So we're going to talk about how drones are solving problems in roofing and solar and how you can profit from it. It's kind of the main deal that we're looking at right here. So if you're wondering, am I going to be wasting my time here? So I'm going to go over, you're in the right place if one of those deals. If any of these apply to you, this will hopefully be beneficial to you, and you'll learn something. So either you're interested in the drone industry, maybe you don't have a drone, but you're interested in the drone industry and you're thinking about using a drone to do some jobs, maybe like roofing and solar type stuff. That sounds interesting to you. If you already have a drone and you've done some jobs, you're like, I kind of need some new skills, or maybe you have a drone business, but you are kind of tired. I know a lot of people who have drone businesses and they work in like real estate, or they do like marketing videos or traditional media stuff. And they realize that's not their cup of tea, or they don't want to do that. They'd rather do something a little bit more technical, a little bit more objective, data-based, and not so much like creative stuff. So if you're interested in shifting maybe away from real estate, like marketing videos, that kind of stuff, and over to more like, inspection type work, this could be beneficial for you, or would be beneficial for you. And then last, if you happen to work for a roofing company, solar company, or a home inspector, this will help you out a lot learning, and you don't maybe know much about how drones can help you. This will hopefully be very beneficial for you as well. So the three things we're going to hit today are, why in the world would someone even care to use a drone to look at a roof to begin with, right? And then we're going to talk about how Sinuhe, started, was in solar roofing sales, started using drones, and then ended up, converting to just running a drone business, or a business that used drones to do the solar surveys, roof survey stuff. And then, how it can help with roofing as well, roof inspections. And then last, we're going to talk about, hey, if you want to break into this industry and do this kind of work, what are like three main skills, things you need to tackle and know how to do, kind of the three most important things we could think of if you want to get started in this. All right. So also in the chat, if you guys are thinking you have questions or anything, you can type questions. I have Audrey on my team there to answer just kind of like any normal questions, like admin type questions. If you have questions for me or Sinuhe, put them in here. I can pull you up on the screen like this. Hey, what's up, Zach and Julie? And then I can turn it off. Yeah. So if we see a question, I'll try to make some time at the end of each section to like let some questions roll in, and then I can put them on the screen and we can kind of address them as we go. And then I'll save some time at the very end for questions. Let's say you typed one, I didn't see it or something. We get to the very end, I'll have like a whole block for Q&A. So just know that you can type it in on YouTube or Facebook. It'll pull it up on my screen here. All right, with that out of the way, I'm going to let Sinuhe dive into a little bit more of his story, how he got started. He's going to explain to you, I think this was helpful for me, explain to you how the solar process works. If you're like, I don't own a home with solar on it, or I've never done this, like how that process works and what problems Sinuhe saw when he was going through that process, and how he started to use a drone to help and change that, right? So where drones help and how they benefit throughout this process, right? So take it away, Sinuhe. That rhymed.
Thanks again, David. So yeah, I used to sell solar in the home in San Diego several years back when I first started in this industry. And one of the things that I'm very fortunate to have worked at this particular company, because they were very thorough in how they taught their salespeople to do the job, right? And in order to be thorough when you're selling solar or when you're selling roofing, you have to, at one point or another, get on the roof to be accurate with your measurements, to make sure that you didn't, miss the distance from the hip or the ridge to an eave, right? When it comes to the solar aspect of it, you do have to be very accurate with those measurements, because where you think you might have room for that panel, you may not, and you just lost that valuable real estate due to.
Real quick, Sinuhe, I don't mean to interrupt you, but there's probably people on here who have no idea about roofing, so they don't know what a hip and eave, any of that stuff is. So just kind of give them in layman's terms.
Okay, so the ridge of a roof, for example, is the part at the very top, right? And it's the ridge, as you would look at a mountain ridge. The hip is where you have a ridge that splits into two mini hips, if you will, and it breaks into a triangle, and that's a hip right there. And a vent could be a bathroom vent, or it could be a kitchen vent, or heating
Yeah,
vent
the little
or something of that
pipes,
nature.
the pipes and turrets that stick up out of the roof. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So I appreciate that. Thank you. I get so, into the details of it because it's so natural to me that I sometimes do not elaborate enough as I should. But
No, that's fine. I just wanted hips, ridge. These are all just different sections of the roof. So either the top line, the bottom, like edge, things like that. So
Yep.
you're talking about enough space to fit the solar panel within the confines of the roof.
Exactly.
Yep.
And in a lot of states, California being one of them, but Arizona and Texas and a few others have setbacks that you can't encroach upon, which take additional space, right? So what would happen is I would have to get on these roofs. And I mean, I don't like getting on roofs. I guess you could say I'm scared of heights, if I'm being honest with everybody. And I just realized that I was putting myself in a position where if I took a wrong step, I could potentially fall and hurt myself. And there's a lot of stats that unfortunately speak to that. I'm sure you'll get into that later. And if it wasn't me missing my step and falling, then I could, if I'm paying more attention to being on the roof, then I could potentially miss a measurement, right? And I'm only going to measure the section of the roof on which I was walking on with accuracy if I'm not relying on satellite imagery. So as I mentioned earlier, I purchased a drone and I attached this little tiny camera and this radio transmitter and all this other nerdy stuff that I got into. And I started realizing as I was learning how to fly this thing, I was like, holy smokes, I could see the entire roof. If I could take pictures of this, I could scale it and I could implement or put it into CAD software and extract measurements from it with a lot more accuracy, where with both of my feet on the ground, very safe and sound, I could fly over the roof and get the entire roof in a much quicker manner without having to carry around this heavy ladder, without putting myself in peril. And a lot of times homeowners would ask me, like they would just straight up ask me, do you know what you're doing up there? I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, but I don't want to be up there as much as you want me to be up there, because the liability, is on you at the time, especially if we haven't signed a contract. So eventually I realized that how valuable the drone could be. And I started implementing it with an old brand called TBS, Team Black Sheep. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but older brand. Actually, a side note, I sold my motorcycle to buy it. It was like $4,000, and then I crashed it and broke it.
Yeah. So $4,000 to crash and break it. How long ago was that?
I was at the end of 2013. It was
a while ago.
Yeah, it was like a $2,500 drone, and then all the equipment to get the transmission of the feed back and forth, and then your setup. But anyways, in the time that it took me to crash it, I did realize that there was a very quantifiable value, not only to my time, but more importantly to my safety. And then beyond that, I was able to recoup my investment because homeowners saw the level of preparedness to which I showed up to their property. They saw what I was able to see before when I was climbing on the roof with the high definition imagery that I was taking. I'd turn the drone off, put everything onto my computer on the spot, and I'd show the homeowner, hey, Mr. Homeowner, if you look here, this is the area I was talking to you about, and describe the specifics of that roof in a way in which nobody else was showing the homeowner. And even with, I don't know if anybody out there is familiar with Nearmap. Nearmap is a paid for flat satellite or airplane imagery. It's a little bit higher resolution, but you're still having some of that grainy or fuzzy aspect to it where your measurements aren't as accurate. Even with that, I mean, the drone, obviously, we all know, blew it out of the water. And just the way in which I was turning over more sales and closing more sales because of it, just the money was the proof. Right. Besides the fact that I was safer and I was spending a lot less time doing all this measurement that I would have before. And as I mentioned earlier, realizing this and implementing it into the business where I was selling, it made me realize that I could build a business out of it. As a lot of you out there are entrepreneurs, that you want to work for yourself. I realized that I wanted to work for myself. And now I had a tool that was differentiating me from everybody else. And here we are.
Yep. Nice. So let's kind of walk us through, you have your experience of how you are, taking your, going from selling it, understanding, I don't want to get up there and there's danger, liability, all these things you're using it. Walk us through kind of, hey, if you're unfamiliar with the solar process, what are kind of the 6 steps that people go through to get solar, if you're a property owner, get solar on their roof, and kind of where do drones fit into those pieces?
So it starts with the quote, right? When you put together a quote for a home buyer, or excuse me, a homeowner that's buying solar, you're using, typically, a lot of companies will start with satellite imagery because it's very, it's very easy to access and it's everywhere, right? And although it's not up to date and there are some limitations to it that are going to prevent you from being accurate, you start there. And the drawback with relying only on satellite imagery is, you have the inefficiency of how you're measuring things. And if you want to be very aggressive with your quote, so starting with the quote, as I mentioned, you're going to make some assumption that you may eventually either A, pay for out of the revenue of the sale, or B, you're having to come back to the homeowner asking them for more money, right? So it started with the quote. From there, once the homeowner and then the satellite imagery that you're using, once the quote is put together, the homeowner's going through the numbers and going through the data that you've given them. And oftentimes, the more astute or savvy homeowners will question you on how you came about to, your fit, or how you came about to the shade measurements, because a lot of people think, oh, well, my roof gets sunlight all day long and there's never any shade, and they're standing next to like the Black Forest, or their home is in the Black Forest, right? They don't understand that there is a lot of shade. And this is where the drone comes in super handy, because you fly to the ridge. Again, it's the highest, most point of the roof. And you're able to do a pano 360 of what the roof skyline looks like. And people are able to understand a lot clearer than if you were to just say, hey, trust me, the solar is going to function the way it will, or it's going to be inhibited by shade or what have you. So when you're in the quote section of it, you're able to show people these things that are factual with their own, they're able to see it with their own eyes. It speaks volume for them. And immediately, as I mentioned earlier, it sets you apart from the other company or the other sales guy that's coming in saying, hey, this is going to work. Just take my word for it.
Right.
And you know this about me, Dave, but I like to do business or speak in a manner where if I can't prove it, I tend to not talk about it too much.
Mm-hmm.
So once the homeowner accepts the quote, right? So we made it from sizing the system or designing the system, or getting the square footage of the roof with satellite imagery, putting together their quotes, having them review the quote. Once they select their quote, then there's what's called a site survey. And whether this is for a roof or for a solar installation or both, you still have somebody come out to the property and confirm all the data, pretty much. Confirm that the quote is going to be installable or it's a viable quote, right? So as a side note, I will say that with a site visit, when it comes to roofing only, even when you're on the roof, so if I go out to your house and give you a roof quote, even if I'm on your roof and I measure everything boots on the roof, there's still always going to be the disclaimer in your quote that says, we can't see what's underneath the overlayment, whether it's a comp shingle roof. I think you have a comp shingle roof, right?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah. So
most ones in Florida are either comp shingle or like Spanish tile stuff.
Yeah, and the course gets into a lot of this, but just very quickly, most homes in the South tend to have comp shingle roofs. In the North, it's also comp shingle roofs. There's a lot of metal roofs as well, which are very difficult to walk on, especially if there's any sort of moisture, because it's super slippery.
Yeah.
But once the quote is selected, the site survey takes place, and they go out and they find the details of that particular site. And from there, the quote is moved into, or the project now, because it's contract, it's moved into the design, right? So again, if it's a roof only project, you don't have too much design work. You do have some permitting depending on the jurisdiction. If it's a solar project, then there's definitely design and permitting that's involved. And all this imagery that you're able to provide to the installer, either as a third-party drone pilot or as DroneQuote when we work with our partners, all this imagery and all these details supplement their own site survey, which oftentimes they don't get on the roof, believe it or not, especially if it's a single story, simple roof. They typically don't get on the roofs either. Not all of them, but some installers. And then once the system is designed and permitted, it then finally goes to the installation, where all these measurements that you should have been accurate with will play out in real life. And it's happened to me before where I sold a project. This is way in the past when I wasn't using this technology. hey, we seem to have a problem here. The measurements weren't as accurate as we thought. The permit got it wrong, and we have to move some of these panels to another section of the roof, which can mean two things for the homeowner. A, potentially increased cost if you're having to add additional labor to that section of the roof, or B, you may have to lose a panel or two if the section of the roof you want to go to doesn't have the available space, or there are vents in the way, or shade, or what have you. So those steps will bring you from the quote, bring you from initial design of the system to quote, to the design and survey, to the design and permit, and then finally to the installation.
Yeah. Now, for drones, I think you and I have talked about, right, the biggest parts where drones can play impact, is when you go to the site survey, if people get up there, you've talked about when you would go up there to do it, right? You've gotten bad measurements, either you're trying to stay safe up there. At the same time, you're trying to take measurements, and sometimes trying to get the vertical measurements right and the horizontal measurements right. You're either slanted a little bit, you're not right on. And, it happens like what you're saying, even being off a little bit, especially when it comes to solar, it sounds like, as if you're off a little bit, maybe on a roof inspection for measurements, it's like, that might just mean buying a little bit more material or something like that. But on a solar job, it can have a lot worse implications, it sounds like. Is that right?
Yeah, with the roofing aspect, the actual measurement of the roof is, obviously you want to be accurate, but there's always a waste factor that's included into the quote.
Right.
So they have that because if you have, odd shaped roof sections, the material is not going to go as far as if it were just a rectangle, for example, or a square.
Right. Right.
But with the roofing, with the solar, the accuracy is a lot more imperative, because you don't want to have to go back to redesign something, which, like I said, could cost you that the efficiency of the system, additional cost, or time, because if it has to be re-permitted, then all the work stops. Or if you really push it, you just do it and then you wait for the permit inspector to go out there.
Yeah. So I think, the biggest thing, if you guys are taking away, at least from this part of the training, is, for solar stuff, as far as the quoting process and the installation process, drones are really going to help these companies with speed. They can do a lot more. We'll talk more about that later too. They can do more because they're not having to climb up there, right? It's safer. You don't have to worry about people falling off roofs, which, again, we'll talk later. We've got some stats about the amount of people that fall off roofs, the OSHA fines that happen, these companies that get fined a ton of money if they're shown to be like negligible, and you got workers' comp and all this like stuff that adds up. So it makes it safer, it's faster, and then it gets more accurate, especially in solar. So that way, exactly what you're designing. And if you need to move something, you already have super accurate measurements of the roof and not just kind of, rough estimates drawn on, whatever else you would draw with. So, cool. So, and like you said, right, either you're going to try to be aggressive with the bid and maybe, quote it low, but then find out later, oh crap, this measurement is wrong. And you have to either go back to the homeowner and say, we need to up the price, and they're going to be pissed, or you have to eat the cost, right? Or you can try to bake all that in, and then maybe you overbid the project and then you lose the project, right? So you kind of lose out either way. All right. Well, I see some questions coming in here. If you don't mind, Sinuhe, we'll take a couple. I'm probably not gonna be able to get to all of them. So if you guys, if I don't answer it, feel free to ask it again at the end. Here's one. I'm trying to scroll back a little bit. What types of drones are best to get accurate measurements? They always require thermal to look at bad cells as the main task. I'll let you answer the first part of that, Sinuhe, and then I can help with the second one if you want.
You know what? I had a lot of success when I was flying more. I had a lot of success, believe it or not, with the Phantom 3.
Really?
And I did. It's a very cost-effective, low-cost drone, right? It works with the soft, maybe not so much now because it's a significantly older drone, but at the time, so now a Phantom 4, I would say, because they don't have to have the most technologically advanced cameras. As long as you're getting a good resolution out of that imagery, and you fly your ortho mosaic pattern in a manner that is consistent, you're going to be able to extract high quality ortho mosaic images out of it. So I wouldn't say to people you have to go out and buy the most expensive drone out there. You just don't.
Yeah. And then as far as thermal goes, for this is more of surveying the roof for a solar installation. and kind of surveying things so that when people get quoted out, the solar companies can install faster on the roofs. And then we talk also about roof inspection, so the types of roofs, some roof damage you'll see, things like that. This isn't necessarily on inspecting solar farms for bad cells per se with thermal cameras like you're talking about.
Well, I think what this gentleman is asking in his question with the thermal imagery, I think that's a better solution for solar farms where the vast space that they take up, it's way more efficient. The challenge with residential solar installations is that most homeowners won't want to pay you what you want to charge if you're utilizing a thermal camera, because those things are not inexpensive. You could figure out with a lot of monitoring solutions that are available nowadays, you could figure out exactly which panel has an issue, if in fact there is a panel. So, excuse me, if in fact there is an issue. That takes a little bit of understanding as to how to get into the software that monitors the solar. So it's more specific to those people that have that skill set. But I mean, yeah, you could definitely acquire that kind of technology for your drone. You're just gonna have to find clientele that have bigger systems, significantly bigger systems.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see another one here. I did see some more. Is there a software that evaluates shingle roofing? I'm not sure exactly what Doug's asking here.
I think I know what he's asking. Yeah, so I think if I'm understanding his question correctly, Doug's question, there is a software, I don't remember the name off the top of my head, so unfortunately I can't give you that detail, Doug, but there are some softwares out there that have an algorithm built into it where the imagery or the software is able to show where the damage is on that particular roof. So it's out there. It's not as prevalent as I would like it to be. It is out there, though. I have come across it.
All right, here's one. What do you use to get the measurements from the imagery? I think you can answer this one, Sinuhe.
So, we take a rather a basic approach because it works really well. How we do it is we like to set out a 25-foot scale on a flat surface. So if you have a driveway that has a slight incline, don't use the incline section. Go horizontal where it's going to be flat relative to the image from above. And you take that scale, and when you generate your orthomosaic image, you're able to scale that measurement with however long you set it out for. And I'll share very briefly because it's not up yet. It should be up by the end of the week. Today's February 23rd, I think. DroneQuote Measure is a tool that's going to be available for free here by the end of the week, where you'll be able to do what I'm describing right now.
Yep, cool. Another one from Doug. Do any of the solar companies hire independent contractors to do their measurements for them?
Yeah, actually, quite a bit of our business last year for these surveys was for solar contractors, where DroneQuote would be hired out, and then we would find, typically it's ARIP pilots that have taken the course and passed, so they have an understanding of what they're doing. It will require you to have more knowledge regarding electrical components. So it's not going to be just your drone imagery, although it is a lot of that. It's also going to be ground imagery, the service panel where the breakers are located, the sub panel, other electrical components like pool pumps or AC units. So you're going to have a skill set that's beyond just inspecting roofs.
Yep. And this is the last one we'll do for now. What would you say is a starting cost if I'm new to this business? I mean, you mentioned the Phantom 3 standard, but I'd probably be wiser to go with something more like a used Phantom 4 Pro or something right now. Would you say, Sinuhe?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
How much can you get a used Phantom 4 Pro for now? I mean, I think new they're around $1,500.
No, I don't think they're about $1,100, $900 roughly.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Yeah, they've come down in price.
So,
and actually, I would recommend a Mavic because of the size.
Nice. Okay. Well, yeah, Mavic, but I guess you could do Mavic or Mavic 2 Pro, yeah, because those would work with most of the softwares we're talking about. So,
yeah,
cool.
One thing I'll add though, real quick on that note, is you don't want to have one of those the version where the DJI controller has the screen built into it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the Crystal Sky thing.
Yeah, they don't implement well with third-party apps like Drone Deploy, which you're going to need to map out your orthomosaic and a few other apps that you'll want to use.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to address a few more things that are popping up. in my opinion, the Phantom 4 RTK is probably overkill for this. Now, if you're doing like actual, like working with surveyors to create like large maps, I think the RTK would be good because that's a lot more expensive to get like a lot more precise measurements for like construction surveys and stuff. This is more to get the measurements of the roof, and it's a pretty small area, so you could use the RTK drone, but it's probably overkill on the price as far as what you're doing in this instance. And then one thing I want to say, Mini 2, I don't believe the Mini 2 you're able to use it with some of the tools that you would probably need to. Like drone deploy we use for doing some of the flight automation and some things like that. You could take the photos manually and then do it that way. It's just more work. You probably have to fly lower with the smaller sensor.
And you don't have as much consistency if you do it manually.
So possible, probably not ideal though. Just pay. Yeah, the RTK is expensive. So those are good for like bigger mapping jobs though, Orly. So don't fret. I'm just telling you, it'll work for this, but it's probably overkill for that. Mavic Air be a good choice. Again, the original Mavic Air does work with drone deploy, although the sensor might be small for the resolution, but it could work. Okay, the Mavic Air 2, they're still working on getting it integrated for some of that software. Especially, I'm talking most about drone deploy because that's the easiest flight automation. And if you join drone deploy, then you can downgrade to the free version and use their flight automation, but not their mapping part.
Thank you. I was going to mention that you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Do not have to pay for it.
Smart controller. I think it was the smart controller. No, might be the smart controller that also has the same deal because that's got the screen built into the bottom of it. But I think he was talking about the Phantom 4 Pro Plus that had basically the screen. I think it's called the Crystal Sky display built in because that's got its like own operating system that does not run some of these third-party apps.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Tyler says he picked up Phantom 4 Advanced with 3 batteries and other accessory under $800. Yeah, you can find some pretty sweet deals on on that. Cool. All right. Sweet. I think we've covered a lot. Let's keep moving on. Appreciate your questions. You keep sending them in. We'll keep trying to answer them. One thing I wanted to mention, let's see. So we talked about safety stuff. I wanted to talk a little bit about some stats around safety and then get into, on the roof inspection side, why roofing companies may want to incorporate drones more into what they're doing and when it seems to be appropriate or when it seems to be most popular for roofing companies to use drones, right? So some quick stats. There's we looked at some medical website. There are 500,000 ladder fall injuries that are treated every year. It was like the Orthopedic Society of something. I know this is really official. I'm not even giving you like a solid link, but you could probably look it up. Orthopedic surgeons, something. It was 500,000 people get treated. That's not even people that get injured, but they actually go into the hospital and get treated for ladder injuries a year. That's like a ton of people, right? And when you are a roofing company, you have a ton of competition. So there are, I think the last time I looked, there are over 100,000 roofing contractors in the United States alone. So you got 100,000 people you're competing against for roofing jobs, whether it's residential, commercial, anything like that, right? And you know that during, anytime there's economic downswing, one of the most sensitive industries is construction. Maybe roofing isn't impacted as much because it's pretty essential to have a roof on your head if your roof gets jacked up. But construction definitely takes a hit. And when that happened, there was a company that did some research, a consulting group that works in the construction field. And they did some research on, hey, what are the most common reasons that construction and roofing companies fail, right? And the two biggest things on their list were bad estimates, people estimating poorly, and then incurring project losses, so like budget overruns, things like that. Those are like the two biggest things. Now, there were other things among them around like the person is just bad at business, poor marketing, they don't know how to sell, things like that, right? So you have that looming in the background. Then you can think about another issue roofing companies have. Everybody's probably familiar with workers' compensation insurance. So if you're a business and you have employees, typically you have to have some type of workers' comp insurance, which means if somebody gets hurt working for you, they can file a claim and they can get paid their medical expenses and some other stuff, right? So, the normal workers' comp rate in America is fairly low for like office jobs, things like that. Construction has an insanely high workers' compensation insurance rate. Roofing has the highest workers' comp rate of any, even in the construction industry. So the average roofing company, it's 12 times the amount of a normal company. So I looked it up. It's actually 25% of their pay. So if you have a roofing contractor, let's say you're paying them, just for easy math for me, because I'm stupid, $40,000, their workers' comp would be $10,000 a year. That's how much they have to pay in just the insurance premiums. And that's not if their company has a claim, then it would go up even more than that, right? So if somebody gets hurt on a roof, it can be a huge expense to a company and maybe put them under if they're a small enough company, right? Because on top of that, then you have OSHA fines. So I like nerded out and dug into the OSHA, SHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. I might be jacking that up, but OSHA, there are people that say, hey, if you don't have a safe workplace, we're going to come in and we're going to fine you because we're the government and we like things to be safe, good and bad, So they come in if these companies are found to have been negligent, maybe like they didn't enforce their guys tying off their, harness or something like that, and people fall and get hurt, they can get fined. So I just looked at roofing related claims. I only did roofing. This is not like regular construction. This is nothing else. This is like roofing companies, roofers, things like that. Over 4,000 claims on that are like violations that OSHA like issued fines for. And I looked up some of them. It was like, they're not cheap. It was like $10,000 in one instance. Another one I found was $13,500, $12,000. Another one was a repeat offender, and somebody fell off like a 2-story roof and died. The OSHA fined him almost $22,000, and that's on top of anything that have to do for workers' comp and all that. So, like, if you're a roofing company, if people are getting hurt, I mean, financially, it's terrible for you. So, so you can think, okay, that's great, Dave. I don't really care. Like, that's cool about roofing companies, but what does that have to do with drones? So, if you think about it, drones, anytime you can have someone not on a roof, it's less exposure for your people and less exposure for you financially as a company, right? So, a lot of these roofing companies, if it's just like a regular residential roof, I know a lot of them will use satellite imagery, and even if they're off a little bit, it doesn't matter that much. I do know that more and more roofing companies and some of these roofing softwares are incorporating drones more and more into it because the drones are getting faster, the drones are getting cheaper. And, if they can train their techs on how to have a drone, well, if they're going to take the time to pull the satellite imagery anyways, it doesn't take that much more time to send up a drone, right? And if you really want to get accurate, then you can process a map pretty quickly too if you're experienced with it. So it is catching on more and more. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that for a roof, they're just going to use a satellite imagery and call it a day and estimate it, and that be it. There's still benefit for them using it for marketing views. I know a lot of people, there's people, other instructors we have in our course, and they work for a roofing company. Every single roof they do, the roofing company says, hey, listen, I want you to take before picture, take after pictures. So that way they have a documentation for every roof they've done. Hey, you have a house, you want green, comp shingle, cool. And so if a customer says, hey, what does that look like? They say, hey, here's the last job we did. That was green comp shingle roof. And they've got all these nice marketing pictures, right? So there's a roofing company that does that, but you have to have a roofing company that cares about marketing at that point. But where I've seen the big money come from people using drones for roofing is right after storms. So a tornado, a hailstorm, a windstorm, a hurricane, that like the insurance companies and the roofing companies cannot keep up with assessing the damage. So I don't know if you've heard our podcast, Drone to 1K, but oh, there goes my camera. I have like a little 30-minute timer on my camera. I have to push a button. Sorry about that. Anyways, our podcast, Drone to 1K, we had someone on. He had recently started his business. I think it was either some hurricanes or I think it was hurricanes came through Louisiana and messed up a bunch of roofs. Shocker. And so he drove up there with his drone, got connected with an insurance adjuster, insurance company, and roofing companies, and was out there for like a month. And I think he made over 12 grand. I could be low on that. It was definitely 5 figures in 1 month just doing roof inspections. So because the problem is they have to cover such a large area and they have to figure out, okay, which roofs are damaged, which buildings are damaged, how much damage. We need to document it so we can prioritize which ones we're going to hit first and all that. So they need people. It's a lot faster than them going by foot, climbing up, walking around, especially on these commercial roofs, which are pretty big. He was doing a lot of schools. So that's where you can get a lot of business quickly and big business for roof inspections, and you need to know about roofs, what you're looking for, be able to deal with, talk to insurance companies and roofers and be familiar with the reports, things like that. So yes, some roof companies will work with you for estimates, especially maybe if it's a larger roof. They'll work with you on the marketing side of things if you're interested in that. But a lot of the stuff that I've found on the roofing only side, not the solar side, comes during storms and inspecting roofs after storms. So I hope that paints a little bit of picture on why roofing companies would even care about drones in the first place, how they help, and, so marketing, safety, and just kind of speed and efficiency. Very similar things to the solar arena.
Dave, if I could add
Go
to
ahead.
that on the marketing side, having purchased a roof for my home a few years ago, it's one of those things where I almost felt cheated because I paid all this money, and I have a new roof, but when I go inside my house, it felt the same. I can't really tell the difference inside the house, but I spent all this money, so I definitely felt the difference. On the marketing side, you're able to very clearly show to people, like you gave the example, what a previous home's before and after looked like. And when you show that to that specific homeowner of the before and after, it really gives them the satisfaction of, I got my money's worth. Yeah, I understand having a roof, but this is what it looks like. And the value add, well, you're supposed to maintain your roof and your home, right? But the value add to have that data, if you ever go to sell your home, I recently sold my home, and I was able to show a lot of drone imagery to the real estate agent, who then was able to pass on the value when he went to sell the home to the buyer. And I had enough information, and I kept enough records, the roofing and the solar being part of it, with the imagery to go with it, that it gave the value proposition that really warranted the price I was asking for. So on the marketing side, that's very specific to one homeowner. But when you're able to convey that to a roofing company that may not have the savvy marketing expertise, and you're able to show them, hey, you know what, if you do more of this, you will get more of the customers you're looking for, and better articulate that and show that to your potential clientele. So there's a lot of value there.
Yeah. So, I want to go back to the solar stuff for a second. As far as, some people who may not be familiar with, roofing, I feel like it's kind of intuitive, at least for damage and things like that. On the solar side of things and working, I know you've worked with a lot of solar installers. Mm-hmm. What do you see as why is there demand for that? I know there's some tax incentive stuff. And then I know that, there's other, I think that's a big one for solar, just they can save money and they can get some tax incentives. So talk about that for a little bit. And then I want you to talk about kind of how many jobs that you guys have been doing and what you're seeing from your side of things.
So the incentives for property owners that are installing solar is currently 26%. And I think that's extended for an additional 2 years for 26%. And then it should roll down to, or scale down to 22%. But the property owner that installs solar, and then if that includes a roof, then you get the roof credit on that, the tax credit on that as well. 26% of the purchase cost is given back to the homeowner in the tax credit format. So ultimately what that means is it makes it more affordable, thereby increasing demand. Right?
Yep.
So that's a big benefit of installing solar, especially if you're able to tie the solar and the roofing together.
Yeah. Now go ahead.
Well, in terms of the surveys, at the last year was our first year where we really had a good amount of success with our company DroneQuote, going out and offering our services third party to installers, where during the summer times the demand increases and they either A, don't have the manpower, or B, can't bring on the manpower in an appropriate amount of time. So a third party surveyor like DroneQuote would be hired to go out and do the inspections. And during the better part of the year, we were doing just sub 100 surveys a month. Now, this was our first year where we were having putting actual effort into this service. And we realized, because DroneQuote, our model is very similar to going out and surveying for the solar already. So we just started offering this this service out to different installers throughout the United States. well, mainly California and Arizona, but in a few other states here and there. And I believe in 2021, having already built a reputation for ourselves doing that and having a better understanding of what we're doing and how to process all that data and pass on the findings to the solar installer, we'll definitely be able to grow that. And the best part, I feel, is that more often than not, these pilots that were going out and getting these jobs were ARIP pilots. Because
when you say ARIP, you're just talking about people who have been through that roof inspection course.
Yep. There's a little bit more to it now. We have a solar roof inspection pro course, but as we continue to grow that, the beauty of having other people that have taken this course is that we can turn these jobs over to them, and there's no bringing them up to speed and training them in a hasty manner where when they haven't done this course, it's a little bit more challenging going through the protocols and the steps and everything.
Yeah. Now, for someone who's out there like doing this, let's say they have a deal with a solar installer. How much are you able to charge for the solar survey part of it for the roof, for like a residential and then for maybe like commercial?
It's like between $150 to $200, depending on different factors. If it's a really large property and there's additional things that we have to get data for, we tend to charge a little bit more than $150. If it's a simple solar survey and there isn't a lot of complexity to it, then it's usually $150, especially if there's multiple jobs that come with that installer.
Yeah. And then what about like for commercial roofs?
So commercial roof survey for solar typically is about $500 roughly. Again, depending on the size of the property. If you have a 75,000 square foot roof, it's going to be a large orthomosaic map, and ultimately you're paying for the development, right? So you're going to build that into the cost. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So those are about the prices you're seeing. You did like you said, almost about 100 in a month. So it's pretty solid for you. I mean, but that's kind of what you guys specialize in and do a lot of. So, but just know that, the demand is there. I know some people saying, in-house versus hiring it out. Yeah. I mean, there's probably always going to be some people who maybe bring certain things in-house, but I've talked to a lot of people, even in like construction industry, where these people started to bring stuff in-house and then they realize, oh, we're gonna have to deal with the equipment, maintenance, training, liability. And then they ended up shutting it off and saying, you know what, just hire third-party companies to do it. It's going to be about the same price anyways as having it in-house. And, we don't have to, now they have the equipment upkeep and they have the liability, whatever. We don't have to worry about it. So it kind of goes both ways, I think. Cool. Yeah. And I was going to tell people, I forgot to mention at the beginning, we're going to talk more stuff and we're going to have more Q&A, but towards the end of the training, we're going to show you guys inside of for the people who are interested, show you inside of the roof inspection course. And then the new course, Sinuhe actually just made, the solar inspection course, kind of goes into some more details, even on the non-drone side of things. So if you want to do these types of jobs, especially around the solar installation, but we even get into the roof inspection part of it. We have like a special deal that we're going to do on those that we'll show you guys. If you're not interested in that, no worries. I mean, you can stick around. We're going to talk more about training stuff. You can stick around for Q&A, but we'll also give you a sneak peek inside of those courses here in a minute. But cool. All right, what else we got on the docket? Oh yeah, and then I was going to ask, how long does it take you? I mean, that's one question we've gotten before. Like, hey, if I'm going to go out there, once I'm there at the site, how long does it take me or take you to do one of these site surveys typically, Sinuhe?
So when we're sending out DroneQuote pilots, they're typically there about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on whether or not the homeowner comes out and starts asking a bunch of questions. People get curious with the drone and whatnot, which is a challenge in and of itself, right? Because you want to be attention to detail to what you're doing. But typically about 20, 30 minutes. If it's taking you more than 30 minutes, you're not doing something right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So half an hour, $150, $200 for half an hour, but then there's probably some processing time or two. But even if it takes you another 30 minutes, let's say, probably on the most for processing stuff, that's still, pretty solid, $150, $200 an hour for that work. Cool. We're getting into a couple questions here on what's all included. What do people get here? Bruce, what do people get for the $150, $200? So like, what's your deliverable to the solar installer, Sinuhe?
So a solar installer and a roofing installer as well, because there's a lot of similarity or overlap, I should say. They're getting orthomosaic map with scaled imagery, and they're getting the source images that go with it. They're getting a roof report, and this is where the DroneQuote measure tool comes into play, because you're able to take your orthomosaic picture and draw your roof report out of it, which otherwise, I should share with you, these roofing companies are paying, upwards of, $15 to $25 per roof report, just for the roof report derived from satellite imagery. They're getting the measurements on the ground, and if it's a solar project, they're getting electrical data, as I mentioned earlier, and a few other ground details.
Yep. Okay, cool. And just a little course plug. Again, I'm not trying to be super salesy on this, but like we teach you all that stuff in the courses we're going to mention later, how to put together all those deliverables and everything they look for. Cool. All right. And yeah, that's another thing. Even if you don't like use these courses, Sinuhe's company develops software that he's putting out for free that can help you, create these reports. There's some work you'd have to do beforehand and a lot of other knowledge. But if you already know what you're doing and you need to just create the report, or if you just want to give it a spin, that's open to anyone. So, I'm sure we'll link that up. I think you said it goes live, I know you just spent a lot of time and money updating it and redoing it. So it'll be live, I think, on Friday. So
that's right.
Cool. All right. A couple more things. I know we're getting close to the end here, but I just want to touch on the 3 things we talked about. And these are similar to what we've already talked about, right? So we talked about, hey, we're going to give you 3 things to master if you want to actually go out and make money in this field business, right? So number 1, you got to have your Part 107 license, and you got to know how to fly a drone. It's kind of obvious, but with this, you are doing some automated stuff, but you got to know how to take off, how to land, how to work the software. But you also sometimes you're going to get in close certain areas of the roof, take photos, things like that. So you got to be comfortable flying close to objects. You got to know when the drone's facing you, right is left, left is right. I destroyed a couple of drones that way. I know Sinuhe's crashed a couple of drones. So get comfortable flying a drone, and you got to have your Part 107 license. If you don't have your Part 107 license, another shameless plug, we got one of the top courses. Like 14,000 people have taken it. It's pretty solid. And if you want to use that course to do it, great. I think you can use a code FLYING50 is like a generic one for $50 off that. If you want to go find it, I'm not going to like plug it here, or just go study on your own. I don't care what you use, but you got to hit a Part 107 certificate by taking a test. So that's step 1. Get that, learn how to fly a drone, be comfortable flying close to close objects. And then, also, when I tell you about stuff later, we're going to give away, we have a course, Drones 101. If you're not super familiar with newer, this is a good course for that. Since you just joined the call, I'll even just give it to you, even if you don't buy anything. Drones 101, it walks you through a lot of flight exercises. We'll get you a lot more comfortable flying drones, understanding how they work and all that stuff. So just remind me, I'll give you a code for that at the end to get that for free if you want it. Number 2, you got to understand how to take the data you're capturing and then turning it into something useful for someone. So a lot of people think, I've got my drone, who's going to hire me? But you have to know what the people in that industry or what your customer needs, what will help them take the drone to capture the image, but they don't necessarily care about just the raw data. They care about what that can do for them, right? So that roof report or that nice marketing video, whatever it is that you're turning into a product for them, they're like, I need something that I can do something with. So that's where a lot of the learning and skill and practice comes into play there. So don't be fooled to think just because you have a drone that now you're worth all this money, right? Anybody can go get a Part 107 license and get a drone. It's what you learn after that can set you apart. So that's very important. And then number 3, I'll let Sinuhe expound on a little more, just briefly. But something he's found super valuable is you have to know how to communicate with the customer, how to educate them on how drones can help. So talk for a second about that, Sinuhe, and your experience with that.
Yeah. So when it comes to positioning, well, I'll speak from my experience. When I position myself to these companies that I was reaching out to, I had to convey to them that, 1, they could trust me with their clientele, right? So I have to act the part and be the part and know what it is I'm talking about. And a lot of the times, you think, like you mentioned earlier, you have a drone and now you can go out and do this. But if you don't put this data together properly as a deliverable for them, they will realize it immediately and you'll look bad. And how I know that is I've been there. I've gone through the process. I'm serious. I went through the process early on when I was doing a lot of these surveys myself. I built this process that I turned into, the course and my own SOPs through trial and error, right? So knowing how to gather the data in a safe manner where you're looking professional and not breaking anything, especially any private property, right? And then turning that data into a deliverable, but also managing that data. I got to tell you, there's been more times than I care to admit where I didn't capture something and I had to go back to the property, which one cost me time, which is super valuable, obviously, and cost me reputation because I'm going back to the property. Obviously, I didn't do something right the first time around. So knowing how to go from the beginning of acquiring the business to turning in a deliverable that is actionable and that is accurate is what the SOPs that I put together were all about. And I should give a shout out to my partner, Riley Wiggins. If you ever see this, I love you, man. But it's a matter of
if you're in the course, you'll see Riley too. He's another. He works with Sinuhe and on all the DroneQuote stuff, and he participated in instructing.
Yep. But really, what it comes down to is knowing what you're doing, how to do it in a manner that is professional and efficient, so that you can earn additional business, not just that contract, but additional contract going into hopefully perpetuity, but into the future.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Real quick, I'm talking way too long here. I meant to be done sooner than this. So what I'm going to do now is, for those of you who are interested in taking a peek inside the course and some of these SOPs we're talking about and checklists and all that crap, I'm going to just give you a sneak peek real quick. I'll try not to take too long. Just give you a peruse through it, and then I'll give you some promo codes if you're interested in getting in it. So we're going to actually be running a deal from today on the call through Friday for a discount on this course, plus, and we're going to say the first 100 people to get in the course are going to get that add-on bonus course, the solar inspection course, for free, and some other goodies. So I'll get to that in a minute, but let me see if I can figure out how to share my screen here, since I am not a software genius. Let's try this button. All right, cool. Can you guys see my screen? Let me know if so.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Sweet. Okay. So here's the aerial roof inspection pro. This is the one that Sinuhe teaches. So first things we dive into, we give you some first steps. You can join. So some stuff you get with it, right? So you get the full course, right? But you get a Facebook group that's only for students where you can talk to other people and other students that are in there. We have a 47-page workbook. Here it is. This is something you can print off as you go through the course, take notes on. It gives you a lot of details on the kind of the written material in the course and goes along with all the videos. So this is super detailed with photos and more notes and just everything that you're going to learn in the course. This is like a companion guide to go through it with the course. And then we give you a job checklist. So everything you learn inside the course, we create a checklist for. So you can print this out for every single job. This is kind of like your SOP guide, if you will. And you can, put your address, date of flight. You can check the roof type and make sure you did all the different things we teach you how to do, and make sure you brought everything with you to the job site, because Sinuhe's done stuff where he's gotten out there, forgot his measuring tape, and screwed up the whole job.
You know what, Dave? I gotta say, this is a really big deal, what you're describing right now, the checklist, because oftentimes you don't know what you don't know, and this puts it all in perspective to keep you working as efficiently as possible.
Yeah. So just stuff to make your life easier, right? To make the course easier. So we get that, but then we're going to get into, so first thing we're going to teach you, again, if you're a roofer, you're going to know all this, but for a lot of you just normal folks out there who don't have a lot of experience in this, we're going to teach you all the different types of roof types, roof materials, obstructions and vents, everything about the roof, right? And then we got a lot of information on identifying different types of roof damage that you might see, with a lot of information there. And then we're going to get into kind of the flight portion of it. So how to plan your flight, checking airspace, checking the weather, NOTAMs, all the equipment to bring, some stuff that you might want to go through as you're learning how to safely prepare a flight if you're going to go out and do one of these surveys. So there's that. I don't want to get into like tons of detail, but there's a lot of videos in here, and we walk you through how to do airspace when this is not available, and setting up drone deploy and all that stuff. And at the end of each section, we have some quizzes to kind of reinforce the stuff you're learning, right? So we'll teach you how to fly, how to do automated flights. That was Riley right there. Then we'll teach you how to take that data, put it into your usable reports. All right, so that's using some of that software we mentioned, or a lot of the software. We show you kind of a free way to do it. So you can use the free version of Drone Deploy, the free version of another software, and then the free version of the reporting tools. So you can kind of stay low budget if that's what you want to do. There are some other options that are more expensive that are faster, but you're going to have to pay, like Sinuhe was saying, like $30 per roof report. Typically, it's not that much longer to do it the way we teach you how to do it. And this is where we kind of show you the reporting. So like data management, creating that orthomosaic map, generating that roof report, how to do that, creating all those deliverables we talked about that you're going to be giving to the final person. Then we do a residential job shadow walkthrough. We take you through the process start to finish on a residential roof. Then we do the same thing on a commercial roof. And there's Riley. That was a very unfortunate screenshot right there that it stopped him on. And then a quiz, right? And then we get into some bonuses. And, you know, we talked about marketing is pretty important in knowing how to actually go out and talk to people about this and educate people. So some kind of bonus stuff on marketing, some tips, things like that. And all right. And then what happened was when we released this course in the beta version, we got a lot of people at the end being like, hey, course is great, but like now that I'm done, what do I have to show for it? Like, are people going to believe me that I just know this stuff? Or they wanted something else, something extra. So we created this designation called Certified Aerial Roof Survey Specialist. It's just a Drone Launch Academy thing that we invented. But to get it, you do have to jump through some hoops. So you have to finish this course. You have to pass the test at the end, proving that you learned everything. You have to submit a roof surveys that you've done to us. We review it, and then we give you this badge that you can put on your site, and then a link to our site that shows, hey, if this person has this certification, it means they've done these things. So obviously we're not like, it's not like a CPA license where we're going to be, you know, we're like this huge body that everybody knows about, right? But it's something that you can show that someone can click on. They can say, hey, a third party person verified that this person knows what they're talking about and knows what they're doing and is committed to being safe and things like that. Another thing, Sinuhe, for his DroneQuote company, he really only hires people who have this certification because he knows this is going to make his life a lot easier if people know how to do this already, right? So he's not going to have to teach them from scratch or something like that. So it's basically a code of conduct. You have to agree to a code of conduct that you're just not going to do anything stupid and follow the rules, essentially. All right, so there's that. The car certification, the DroneQuote stuff, we talked about that. Again, you get the workbook, the checklists, all that. All right, then the new course that we just came out with. It's called Solar Roof Inspection Pro. I know, kind of close in title. I don't want to make it too confusing. I'll let Sinuhe talk a little bit more about the differences, but essentially this is a more like a mini course, and it includes, it's a bonus add-on course. So you have to have taken the Aerial Roof Inspection Pro course before taking this course, and it adds on to it to show people how to do some of the things that are specific to solar installs. Man, it's looking good, Sinuhe. Some things that are specific to the solar install. So some of the electrical systems. Here I have So it's a smaller course list here, but it's, you know, what to do before you're going on site, all the tools you need to bring, talking about main service panels, all that stuff, you know, equipment, all the extra things you need to do. Oh, it doesn't even think I'm logged in, so I can't even preview it. But all the extra things you need to do. Go ahead, take it away, Sinuhe.
Well, you know what I should add here? The reason why this is a mini course, if you will, is because a lot of the technicalities of just getting in the air and, you know, processing your data and having the wherewithal to utilize your drone in a proper manner come from the ARIP course. This course here, the Solar Roof Inspection Pro course, is more specific to all the electrical thing. Not only, it's a lot of roof imagery as well, and how the solar installer will want that roof imagery, but there's a lot of detail that goes into the ground imagery. As you mentioned, the electrical equipment, which electrical equipment to get, how to safely look into the electrical equipment components and properly remove, you know, the dead front of the service panel, which, you know, that's a technical term, but it's in the course. How to get your measurements for the rafters, where to get your measurements so that you potentially don't have to even go in the home. A lot of things that are going to come into the actual design and, more importantly, permitting of the solar installation. So, it's all relative to that.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's the new course we have. It's kind of an add-on course for those who want to dive even deeper into the solar side of things. All right. So if you guys are like, okay, cool, what's the code? so normally the roof inspection course is like $499 full price. The solar inspection add-on was going to be $99, or it is $99. But since we're just now opening this new mini course, we're having this training to kind of help people and teach people. But we're also doing a thing from now until Friday where you get $200 off of the aerial roof inspection pro course. So that one's going to be $299 from $499. And then the solar inspection pro course will be free for the first 100 people who sign up as a free bonus for the roof inspection course. So $299 for the $500 course plus the extra $100 course. And I was talking to Sinuhe, we're like, why not throw it in there? So for the first 10 people to sign up, it's like, but wait, there's more.
There's more.
The first 10 people to sign up, we're gonna do like free like 30-minute coaching call type thing. So you can jump on a call with me and Sinuhe for half an hour and ask them any questions you want, get some personalized advice for 30 minutes. Plus you'd get the solar inspection pro course. Plus you'd get, again, I said I'd throw Drones 101 in for anyone who wants that too. If you're newer to drones, it's super helpful. So the code, if you want, if you're ready, you're like, cool, I'm in, I want to do it. I'll just put that code up here. I don't know, Audrey, if you're still around, could you post it in there? I'll try to punch it in here real quick. Drone launch, I'm gonna make a nice easy link for it. DroneLaunchAcademy.com/ARIP. DroneLaunchAcademy.com. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to like type this thing in, right? I think you can handle it. ARIP, ARIP. That'll take you to like the checkout page if you already know you want to do it. Like if you already looked through the stuff, you want to do it. If you want to check out more about the course, like read up on it more at sales page, you can just type in ARIP more, MORE, all one word. That'll take you to the sales page, right? So for the first 100 people, we are, like you said, you get the course for $200 off and you get the bonus course for free. Oh yes, money back guarantee. I should have talked about that too. So yeah, we have money back guarantee on this course. For this one, it's if you get in and you do the course, right? So you take the course and if you take the course and you're like, I didn't think it was that good, or I tried it, it didn't work for me. I went through it and I just didn't think it was worth the money I paid for it. Even if that's it, just let us know and we'll give you a full refund. All we ask is that you actually give the course a try, right? We don't want you to buy the course and then just be like, oh, I'm lazy and don't want to do it, right? We put a lot of time and effort, months and months and months, thousands of dollars into creating this course for you. All we ask is that you actually go through it and try it first before deciding if you do like it or don't like it. But if you don't like it, let us know after going through it, trying it, and we'll give you a full refund. We don't want you to be stuck paying for a course that you don't like and that is not valuable to you, right? Because if we're making courses that don't work and are not valuable, then we have bigger problems and want to get all that fixed.
I can just add to that real quick, David.
Go for it. Yep.
I care, and I think I could speak for you on this, but I care more about the reputation, my own reputation, and of course yours, than I do about one particular sale. So just to echo what you're saying. Yeah.
So cool. So if you are going to sign up, I would put in the comments, just say I'm in, so I know, and we can get you hooked up with the bonus course too, because we have to add those manually. We'll stick around for a while to take questions too, and fire away anything you got about this course, about roofing and solar stuff, about anything you want there. Let me go start looking through some of these comments, and we'll start looking at it. Here's one. Does the Mavic Air 2 work for doing roof and solar surveys? I think we touched on this. You could, but I don't think it's currently compatible with some of the flight automation software that's out there. So it's probably not ideal, but they will get it integrated eventually. But honestly, they've been saying that for since it came out, and it's not done yet. So I don't know the timeline on that. What about other infrastructure inspections? You can use orthomosaic mapping to do a lot of different functions, which basically would required to teach you the basics of in this course. But this one focuses mainly on solar and roof inspections. Someone says, would you be able to inspect a solar farm after solar inspection course? This is more for solar installs on buildings as opposed to solar farms, right, Sinuhe?
Yes, it's more specific to residential installations, given that there's a plethora of those installations out there relative to the quantity of solar
Right.
farms.
Yeah, a lot more volume. So, cool. Home inspector. Yeah, Glenn, this would be good for home inspection stuff. Can I get a link to the new course? I think we just put that below. So hopefully that was an old comment. All right. Randy's in. Excellent, Randy. We talked about the money back guarantee. Yeah, if you get in there, you go through the course, you don't like it, email me and we'll give you a refund. No big deal.
Dave, in between a question, if I could add something.
Sure.
I don't mean to do a shameless plug myself here, but for DroneQuote surveys, when we sell homeowners roofing or solar systems, we need these pilots throughout the different parts of the country. So as you know, we have students go through this course. I would love to defer those flights specifically to these students.
Yeah. And I know you'd plan on, using people that have gone through this course for those jobs. Now we can't like promise, hey, if you take this course, you're definitely going to get a job with Sinuhe, because obviously that depends on, where the jobs are that you guys get in with your contracts and things like that. So this is valuable no matter what you do. But I do know that you're planning on using these students for those jobs. Sorry, I'm trying to get in. I was going to grab a code for the Drones 101 course for people so they could, let's see, Drones 101. I know there's a free code that I already created. I'm just trying to look it up for you guys. So if you did want to get on that too, you could do that. It is, where is it? 1 second. Or I'll just create a new code here. I'll just create a new code real fast. Okay. The code will be for 100% off of Drones 101. And if you just go to dronelaunchacademy.com, I don't have a link set up for you nicely, but if you go to dronelaunchacademy.com, you go to courses, find Drones 101. When you check out, just enter this link. I'll call it ARIP Crew. If you type that in, that'll get you the course for free. I'll post a comment. So it's just ARIP Crew. That's the code for Drones 101 for free. All right. So you can do that if you want to. I'm seeing some stuff pour in here. Okay. So I think we got the top 10 list done. We're almost done here. So I got Dave in the course, Brandon Hess, Brian Glick, Valerio, Michael Pickens, Donald, David Christiansen, Glenn, Andrew Williams, Irving Donaldson. I think that might have been the 10. But thank you guys for jumping in there. And again, first 100 will get the solar inspection course for free. And so that the whole deal, the $200 off though, is good till Friday. So even if you want to think about it or get in later, you have till Friday at the end of the day. All right. Let's see here. Oh, we got Amin. Okay, we got a couple people that are already in ARIP. If you previously purchased it, is the solar course still $99? I think we said we were going to do 50% off for everybody else. But just if you already are an ARIP student, how about this? If you're already in Area Roof Inspection Pro, shoot me an email and we'll see what we can get worked out for the solar course. If you're already a student, I don't want you to get gypped because you've already been in the course, So let me know and we'll see what we can do. All right, cool. We got a lot of people just signing up. Great.
What do we got? What do we have for questions? I want to address people's questions.
You do this while I'm looking at the other stuff. How about marketing or finding clients for Rich?
It's a good question. We talk about it in our I think it's an ARIP that we talk about it, how to position yourself to the prospect, how to not make it a cold call, because a lot of this will actually be you calling people and you have to know how to not make it a cold call. So we do give you some instruction as to how to find the business.
Yeah, there's some stuff in there. I think one of the nice things about the course too is, there is, there's Sinuhe's coming that find, again, he's finding clients in certain areas of the country. So let's say you're in Tennessee. I don't know how many solar clients you're finding in Tennessee or something with Sinuhe, probably not a ton. But if you are in Tennessee, you're pretty close to places where, storms might come through, where you can work for insurance companies to identify that damage. And, if there are solar companies out there, you're probably one of the only people who will know how to do this out there for anyone who is getting solar put on. So, but yeah, so Sinuhe, will you walk through though? Like, let's say they're in an area of the country where you're not, right? So you're not bringing in like gigs for them. Give an example of like how you would pitch a solar installer on this.
Well, I actually like to use LinkedIn quite a bit. So I encourage anybody to find me on LinkedIn, Sinuhe Montoya. I like to use LinkedIn so I could do research on the company that I'm calling. And if you remember earlier, I don't know if I use this phrase exactly, but act as if you belong, right? So when I call somebody with the research that I've done, I act as if though I belong and I should be calling them. And once you have a little bit of insight on the company, it's no longer a cold call. You're not fishing. You have a lot more a targeted approach. And that literally cold calling people, well, I call it cold calling out of habit, but with research, it's not cold calling. With that method of acquiring customers, I mean, it's actually a tried and true a method of finding customers. The only catch is there's a catch, and it's a real catch. You have to be willing to hear no. And I tell people the more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes. So you have to be willing to hear no, and you have to be willing and confident enough to put yourself out there to look for the business, because just because you learned all of this entire skill set doesn't mean that people are going to come to you. You still have to go out there and look for it. And we get into that,
so
of course.
True. Yeah. I mean, again, if you're also marketing, if you're looking for like marketing tips and finding clients, I really encourage you to listen to our Drone to 1K podcast. If you haven't already, I hit on that a ton and ask everybody, what do you do to find clients? What do you do to find clients? What do you do to find clients? And every successful drone business I talk to, right there, I don't know if there's been one where they go, yeah, I just bought a drone and it's crazy. Like everybody started coming out of the woodwork and just wanting to hire me. The only people that I hear like that are people who maybe they do creative work and they're very consistent about posting all the time, and they're super good at like social media, and they have really good looking stuff. And those people will attract people to them, right? And they're good at SEO. So that can happen, but those people are extremely active in posting stuff, putting things out there, reaching out, partnering, stuff like that. But the vast majority are people who they're going out and they're talking to people. They're not afraid to go, hey, just knock on the door. Hey, can I tell you about what I'm doing? I was telling somebody earlier, I just did a podcast episode and then another Q&A call. And I interviewed someone who's doing like $250,000 a year with a business, and they're doing like thermal roof scan stuff for like some other part of the country. And they did like car dealership commercials and something else. I did a couple other things. But he said, I literally sent out thousands of emails when I first started, and I did marketing for 4 solid months. And he's like, and then my business started to take off. But you get people who they make 3 calls. I mean, this doesn't matter what business you're in, right? Again, 3 calls. Oh, they said no, they must not want it. It's like, no, you can't just give up after 3 people. It doesn't matter if you're selling insurance or you're a bookkeeper or whatever business you're in, if you're in a service business, because there's only a small percentage, just sheer numbers, that are ready to buy from you like right now, right? The rest of it, there's a sales process. You have to build relationships. You have to wait until that person's actually ready to buy. Maybe they need to be more educated. Some people might be ready to buy right now, but maybe you didn't get to them at the right moment. You know what I mean? There's so many things that you just have. The most important thing is really sticking with it and having perseverance. As far as the people that I've seen that are successful who kind of just try and flutter out, it's just perseverance. It's like they think it can't happen because they've been told no 3 times and then give up, but people who stick with it and continue to push through can be really successful and do it full time if they want to. So
Dave, there's only 2 industries that I know of where the product sells itself, and they're both illegal. So I won't mention it. But with any business, you have to make it an effort. You have to plant the seeds.
Yes. See, Glenn, he knows what I'm talking about. Same with home inspection. And yeah, any client-based business, you gotta do it. You gotta go out there.
Yeah, and you know what? On the home inspection front, when you know how to inspect a roof, all right, when you know what you're looking for on a roof, everybody that's listening to this, I want you to be very aware of this. Home inspectors typically do not get on roofs. Home inspectors do not typically get on roofs. They're very few and far between for the safety reasons that we talked about earlier. And that's where you're able to come in and offer your services during the transaction of a home.
Yep. Cool. All right. Let's see if we can get some more questions in here. Steve H., thank you so much for the kind words. Let me see here. Okay. Sorry, I missed the beginning. What equipment is required? I have a Mavic 2 Pro. Daryl, I think you're in luck because I think a Mavic 2 Pro is great for this. Yep. I'm sorry if I'm getting late to your question. That was like 5 minutes ago. Excuse me. Sorry. Let's see what else. Will Mavic Pro Platinum work? I think so. Last time I checked, Mavic Pros work with Drone Deploy and the other software that we talk about.
Anything that doesn't have the proprietary software from DJI is more likely to work. Is more than likely to work. I'm sorry. Once you introduce the proprietary, you know, the
you're talking about
system?
you're talking about like the DJI Crystal Sky, like where they have the screen integrated into the controller.
Yeah, anything that has that software, it's not going to work. And then the lower end drones, like the I'm drawing blank.
Like Spark and Mini and stuff.
Like there we go. Thank you. Those won't work either.
Yeah, but the Mavic Pro Platinum, I think, works. The newer drone that I know of that doesn't currently work for it in an automated sense is the Mavic Air 2. However, I think the Mavic Air 2 may work for a software called Litchi. It's like but that's more of like I don't know if it works for waypoints or not. I'd have to look. Okay, so you could potentially do it with Litchi. I don't know if it'll fly ortho patterns or not, but that's one workaround if you have a Mavic Air 2 that you could look into. Cool. Got a couple more. Randy, Scott Wolf, Dylan are all signing up. Thank you all. Here's one. Best equipment to use for this. Does having a FLIR camera help thermal?
You know, the FLIR camera, you're not going to get the clientele that's going to want to pay for what for your services when you paid for the FLIR camera. They're not inexpensive. They're great pieces of technology, but I don't think that the price point is there where you could price yourself competitively. Yeah.
So let me give you some. So I mentioned the guy earlier that was talking about that was just on our podcast. He's a friend of mine, where he's doing he's doing some big money stuff. But there's kind of like two different categories. So if you're going to go all the way over to like specializing in thermal, you kind of need to go all in on thermal. So those drones, he spent $40,000 on his drone setup, which included a Matrice 210, a FLIR XT camera, I think it was like a Z5 zoom or a Z30 zoom camera, and some other things so he could do those infrastructure inspections and kind of like large scale thermal scans. He also became a certified like thermographer. I mean, we're talking like tens of thousands of dollars. Now he's able to charge a lot because there's not a lot of people who can do that with that level of equipment. But we're talking about this is the entry fee is more like $1,000 drone and a $300 course versus $40,000 in equipment and thousands of dollars in certifications, right? If you do want to go down that road eventually, definitely an option for you. It's a much bigger commitment financially, time-wise, all that stuff. So even if you want to do it, this could be a great starting point for you to get your feet wet, understand it more, get into the industry. And then maybe if you wanted to later transition into that, you could, but it's kind of like racing a Ferrari versus, street racing your friends with your Camaro kind of thing. It's like kind of just different entry points, if you will. Yeah, that was probably a horrible analogy, but I hope you get my drift.
And now we're talking about drifting. All right, Dave, calm down.
I think we already talked about this.
Hey, you guys are hitting me up on LinkedIn. I love it.
Robin, drone to 1K training from you. All right, thanks, Robin. We also have like a business course training. I'm not promoting that tonight. Like maybe in like a month or two, we'll bring that back out. But thank you for saying that. That's nice. Worked very hard on that one. Oh, just got a Mavic 2 Pro with smart controller. Will that work for roof and solar inspections? I don't know. I think we were just talking about this. I don't know if the no, there goes my camera again. Jeez. I don't know if the software will work on the smart controller. It might. They're working on compatibility. If it doesn't work for it right now, there's always the option of getting an additional controller that you use with your phone if you have to. But you know what? Litchi, I think this is what I was trying to remember. Litchi just said that they are now compatible, I believe, with the smart controllers. So you may be able to use that software. Let's see here. Sorry, my thing keeps refreshing and moving all the comments around, so I'm trying to grab them. Scott just signed up. Sweet, thanks. LinkedIn is great for landing networking, several high-paying projects. Yes, it is, Brian. Great job. And that one guy I was talking about who does the thermal only stuff, he used LinkedIn for a lot of his jobs that he got. But he's the one who said he had to really dig and learn for a while before he did that. Would you need a visual observer on location with you, and how much would you pay for that? So anyway, you can answer if you disagree,
Yeah,
but
if I may.
I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I'm sorry. When
No,
we
you go
send
ahead.
out drone pilots for our jobs, there's never a visual observer because you're within line of sight. I mean, you're flying literally over the property line and nowhere beyond that.
Yeah. So you're not going super far, like where you would need one. Oh, we're getting reports. Alichi's a no-go for the Mavic Air 2. Okay, sorry to rain on your parade. I was hoping for one there, but at least according to Kent, he says it's no. But I do know that they are actively working to get Drone Deploy integrated for Mavic Air 2, but I just don't know how long it will be. Halfway through ARIP, great information. All right, Christopher. I don't know. Did you just sign up tonight and start crushing it? Probably not. Mavic 2 Enterprise work for roof inspections. I believe so. If you're not doing the smart controller, that has the same capabilities. I believe that's this. It's got the large sensor on it, like the Mavic 2 Pro does, with some extra stuff.
Yes, it looks like it will.
Yes, yes, Daryl. The DJI 2 Pro is the Mavic 2 with the Hasselblad camera. So there's the 2 with the Hasselblad camera. That's the Pro, and then there's the Zoom, which is a little bit lower resolution, but it lets you zoom in. But you shouldn't need the zoom for the stuff that you're doing in this course, by the way. How do we know if we're in the first 100? Well, seeing as there's only, 129 people on this call right now, there was 150 at one point. I'd say if you signed up, you're pretty safe bet that you're in the first 100. I think the first 10 are already gone, but I'd say very safe that you're in the first 100.
Yeah, the first 10 that went really quick.
Yeah, they did. I don't know how many. I don't have a good way of counting these up right now, but I do see a lot of you folks getting in still, so that's good. All right. Any other questions that we can answer for you all? I mean, I'm happy to stick around if you got more questions about the course. And again, if you're like, you want some time to think about it or whatever, I think there's still some room for the 100 people too. I don't know. They seem to be going fairly quickly, so jump in when you can. But this deal will go till Friday. And even if we use it the 100, I thought about if you're still wanting the solar course, we could probably do like 50% for the folks after that. So all right. And again, if you want to get the mini Drones 101 course, you can jump in that as well for free with ARIP crew as the promo code. Oh yeah, there is an option we have a monthly payment option. If you're like, oh, that's too much to bite off in one chew. I didn't put it as a code for this presentation today. Typically it's a little bit more since it's like spread out, like a little bit more in total, but you can spread it out if you want. So I'll try to include that in the emails that are going out. If the price was kind of holding you back today and you'd rather spread it out over 4 months, I can include that in the emails we'll send out tomorrow. We'll send out the replay tomorrow and send us some more information on it. So we can definitely do that. Email. Oh, hold on, let's see. I was in the first 10, but you did not say my name, says Lamont. We'll email everybody that was in the first 10. So I'll have Audrey go back and check because they're like timestamped and stuff. And we'll email you all. All good info. Been waiting since Thanksgiving. Hey, Irv, you did a testimonial for our Part 107 course. I just put those together the other day. He did a video testimonial, and I was like, oh, that's a good testimonial. Short and sweet, right to the point. So thanks for doing that, by the way, Irv. Cool. All right. Ryan, yes. Shoot me an email or you can email support@dronelaunchacademy.com. And Audrey is actually, I think, currently on there and can answer any questions you have. If she can't, she can bounce it to Sinuhe or I, and we're happy to chat with you if you have questions. So support@dronelaunchacademy.com. Harry, what's the deal? Since the beginning. We'll put a replay out, send it out tomorrow so you can watch the whole thing if you want. But we basically talked about roofing and solar for the first 45, 55 minutes, something like that. And then talked about a course for a little bit, the Aerial Roof Inspection Pro course. We're running $200 off. Plus you get our new add-on course, Solar Inspection Pro, for free if you're one of the first 100 to sign up, which I believe is still available. And here was the link, dronelaunchacademy.com/ARIP. That'll take you just right to the checkout thing if you're like already know that you're good to go. if you want to read more about the course, you can do .com/aripmore, MORE, and that will bring you to like the kind of the sales page with all the information. If you want to take a look there. Let's see. Do you require ND filters sometimes? I don't know. Do you? I don't think so, since it's straight down typically, and you don't really. It's photos, so you don't. It's like with the videos where you would normally use ND filter to control shutter speed, but for most of this stuff, it's just photos, so you can kind of you wouldn't need it as much.
And you know what? One point that I didn't mention throughout our conversation that I really love about doing this kind of work is that it's not subjective to your opinion of what's pretty and what's not. It's all data driven. So as long as you have good data that's accurate, in my opinion, it's a lot better than doing the jobs where you have to, use your creative mindset to put something together for a realtor or marketing video or what have you, where it's got to be pretty and to the point, or excuse me, not to the point, but pretty and, to the person that's paying for it. So I love that about this kind of work.
Yep. Love it. Thanks for the love on the podcast. I was trying to find another one. Prices are awesome. New to drones. Silly awesome. Thanks, Drew. Rick, yeah, I said if you're already in the ARIP course, just email me, david@dronelaunchacademy.com, or support@dronelaunchacademy.com is better. They'll respond. My email gets bogged down and then I might forget or might miss it. So email support@dronelaunchacademy.com. Say, I'm already in the ARIP course. What can you do for me on the solar course? And then we can try to get you guys hooked up. If you've already been an ARIP customer for a while, I don't want you to get gypped, so just email us and we'll figure it out for you guys. Promo code not working. Anand, which promo code are you trying to use? And I will try to get you worked. Oh, got it now. Never mind. Phantom 4 and Mavic Air. Looks like you're in the clear, John. We were talking Phantom 4 will definitely work for all of this stuff. Mavic Air will too. Camera's not as good, but it should work okay. Anything else we got here? I think I might have missed one. Best thermal for Mavic 2 Pro. I'm not sure what you mean by that because the Mavic 2 Pro doesn't have thermal on it. Not exactly sure. I do know that there are some like companies that put like aftermarket thermal cameras, like just hard mount them on there. You can't like move them around or anything. But I know a lot of those thermal cameras, they're expensive, but they're not even good enough to, if you want to do like real inspection type work. From the conversations I've had, they're better for things like you're trying to find a warm body in a field type of thing, or you're a firefighter and you need to see like a hot spot, right? But to do like the technical analysis work that you maybe do with a thermal roof inspection or thermal like scans of solar panels, from my understanding, those aren't always what you need,
That's right.
Irv, you remember, yeah, appreciate the video testimonial. All right, we got people that missed the offer, but I think I repeated it enough. Promo code AL. I think if you're looking for the promo code for the roof inspection course, it's, if you type this in, it takes you to the automatic promo. And if you're one of the first 100 to sign up, we'll give you the solar course for free.
If you use this link right here, right?
Yeah, sorry, the one's on the screen.
Yep.
DroneLaunchCabin.com/ARIP. Now, if you find the sales page separately and you're trying to type the code in, I don't know what the code is. This will automatically put it in there. Audrey made the code. It's something like 200 off February something. It's something for us more internal. Promo code Sinuhe. Best way to email you is your website. You could always email us and we can forward it to them. But I think you're on LinkedIn too, Sinuhe. I don't know.
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. smontoya@dronequote.net. SMONTOYA, like the Princess Bride character, @dronequote.net.
Forgot about that. Sinuhe Montoya, you killed my father. Was there a code for the minis? I think you're talking about a code for the Drones 101 course, like the mini course. If so, we were using the code ARIPCREW, ARIPCREW. That would get you into Drones 101 for free if you'd like. Drones that work besides a Phantom. Mavic 2 Pro is a popular one. Mavic Air works. Not the best option, but you can do it. Let's see here. Cool. Al's going to email me. Sounds good. Spanky, good to hear from you again. Spanky's another one of our Drone to 1K course members. So that's good. Daryl, I'm in. All right. Good to hear, Daryl. Anybody else have anything? Mike says, thank you, Sinuhe. Cool. I know there's still 100 of you guys on here hanging on for the long haul. Been on this thing for an hour and 35 minutes. Man, there's movies that aren't even this long. And you guys have been with us to the end here. What else you guys want to know? You guys want to talk about? If I get the course, what else do I get? Now, come on, Antonio. Don't sound like that. No, just kidding. So you get the area roof inspection course. It comes with, we can go through some of it again too. Why not? Let's go back to my trusty dusty. Oh man, you're seeing behind the scenes here of my little dashboard. All right, so here's inside the course, right? So you get all the videos, roof types, how to identify roof damage, planning your flights, doing all your flight automation, taking your flight data, making reports, deliverables, job shadow walkthroughs, marketing, and then this certified aerial roof survey specialist designation that you get for your website to show people that you're not just a rando doing this. You get some sweet workbooks that we put together. I got to let you guys know, this is surprisingly expensive to have designers create these PDFs. When I started a business, I was like, how much for this? But anyways, we wanted to make it good for you guys. So we got this nice little PDF workbook done. You can print off as you go through the course. So you can know exactly what you're looking at, and you can take notes, make sure you're learning everything you need to learn. Checklist for every job you go to. You can print this off to make sure you've hit every little thing you need to do. And then, but wait, there's more. For a limited time, we have the Solar Inspection Pro course, which teaches you more about how to specifically deal with solar installers wanting to use drones. So it teaches you about some non-drone related things too, like the electrical panels. I don't know why this is telling me I'm logged out, but more information about working with solar companies and some of the electrical components, gas, just different things you're going to need to do on site if you want to kind of max out your value for some of these solar companies, right? So there's that.
And you know what, real quick, Antonio, if I could just add, I'm sorry to interrupt you, David. It came to mind.
No, go for it.
Antonio, to be very clear and to be very specific here, to summarize it, you get to learn how to do what it took me about 2 years to learn, a lot of it the hard way, in a manner that's a lot quicker, a lot more efficient, and will put you in front of your prospects a lot more confidently than you would otherwise. I think that's the easiest way to summarize it for you. But there are definitely a lot of goodies that are attached to it. Yeah.
And then if you just want to get the Drones 101 course for taking the time to show up, use the ARIP crew, ARIPCREW code, and you can get in there if you want this. Cool. All right. Hopefully that answers your question, Antonio. Robin, you're welcome. Irv, my man, you're welcome. Evo 2 Pro. Do you know anything about that, Sinuhe, and if that works?
So the non-drone DJI drones, are a little bit more challenging because they typically don't work well with third-party software that allows you to automate the flight. And you can manually fly the drone, although a lot of these other drones now come with their own flight automation. If they don't, it's not recommended that you manually fly it. If you can avoid using something that doesn't have flight automation, it's worth the money, even if you pay a little bit more for that level of sophistication, because it makes your job so much easier. You have way less data, and you're a lot more consistent with your orthomosaic images. Cool.
Hey, real quick, Antonio, I see your other message now. Okay, sorry, I should explain. When you sign up, we have to go in, since we're doing the first 100 people. So after this is over and probably into tomorrow morning, we're going to go through and we're going to add the solar course manually to your account. So you won't see it show up right away. We'll have to add it tomorrow when we check the whole 100 list, and then we'll email the first 10 people and all that stuff. So you'll have access to the roof inspection course right away. And then if you use the code for the Drones 101 course, you'll have that right away. But just the solar inspection pro course, we have to add that manually in our system when we go back through and comb through everything. So there will be a slight delay on that one, if that makes sense. So apologies if you got mixed up there. Cool. Thanks, Kevin. Glad you did it. Work part-time doing roofing sales. All right. Started a handyman side business. Got my 107 for roof sales. But what is the simplest drone market to be in? Real estate. Simplest, maybe. It kind of just it depends on what your preference is. I'd say the easiest ones to get into are where there's a lot of volume for things, right? So you can either go to things that are smaller volume but higher value, and they may take more money to get into, like I was talking about with that thermal roof scans, or some type of like engineering stuff where it require more education and more expensive equipment like LiDAR, right? Those sensors cost like $200,000, but then you can get jobs like mapping out highways and government contracts, things like that. It's a lot of capital to get into that stuff. Real estate's popular because if you've got a drone that takes good images and good video, you can get some business. The problem is, some people think that they can just, because I have a drone, they can get right in. It's not the case. You actually have to be like pretty good at taking good pictures and videos to where you're like worth paying more for. And you have to be pretty, have good perseverance. Excuse me. Sorry. Got a throat tickle. Good perseverance, because the people who are successful that I know in that industry stick with it long enough to where they find good agents that they work with on an ongoing basis that value marketing, and then they use them for all of their stuff, and they get like 5 core people and they just do all their stuff and they can make 6 figures. But the problem is usually people don't stick with it long enough to end up finding those people, and they just hear a lot of no's, and my cousin's got a drone and stuff like that, and they get discouraged and they quit. But if you listen to the podcast, just listen to Drone 1K podcast, you can get a ton from that on different strategies on how people who are successful broke in. There's different trainings you can do. There's different ways to pitch your services to people, different approaches. I don't want to get into it now. This is a roofing training, but like listen to the podcast, any one of the real estate, there's tons of them. And that'll hopefully give you some helpful tips. Steve, loving the Part 107 course. All right, Steve, thanks. Let's see. Craig, I think he wants here. Sinuhe, can you repeat just the brief thing of what you said about the Evo 2 Pro? I don't know if Craig heard you.
So some drones that are not DJI branded do not work well with third-party apps. And these third-party apps are important because they're what you use to automate your flight in order for you to have a consistent set of photographs to generate your orthomosaic map from. Now, the newer drones, even from Altel, I think it is, or Skydio, Evo, for example, they will have built-in flight automation. But if it doesn't have built-in flight automation, you're going to want to invest with something that is functional with third-party apps, which is typically DJI.
Yeah. Rick, seems that you're already in the course. We have updated when software things change. So, for instance, when Sinuhe was updating his DroneQuote software, we put in an alternative option that you could use. And then there's things like Skyward is changing their account structure. So we're going to show you alternative options to get your authorization and flight planning. So we're always updating it if things change. It's mostly software related. So if certain software things change, or this no longer becomes free, or this company changed the layout of this, right? One student will say, hey, I think this is different. And then we'll go, we'll update it. So I think a few small things have been updated. The main process has remained the same because it's still kind of, working and it's the same. But anytime there's an update in the industry or software or something like that, we'll update the course. So there might be a few small things that have been updated since then. All right. Cool. Man, an hour and 45 minutes. This is like Lord of the Rings like length type of like presentation here, Cool. Anyone else have questions? It's a rumor DJI won't be able to sell in the USA. I I don't think they'll not be able to sell in the USA. I know the government is not buying DJI drones because, or at some point they had a moratorium on them because they're a Chinese company. I don't think, I mean, there's tariffs making it harder, and that's why DJI prices went up a year or two ago. Sorry to keep coughing.
On some military installations, I found out the hard way. The DJI drone, not some, on military installations, they won't fly. You're not supposed to be flying DJI drones there.
But by and large, they still have a lion's share of the market and are the most user-friendly to fly, in my opinion. Oh, here's a good one. Sandy. Hey, what's up, Sandy? Another Drone to 1K student. Hope you're doing well. All right. I'll ask you for a friend. I'll let you just insinuate. And while you're doing that, I'm going to get some more water because I'm dying.
Yeah. So the way in which we design the course, Sandy, is such that you can come into it not knowing the technical terms or the terminology, if you will, of the construction for solar or for roofing. We will walk you through in the course the step-by-step process of how to learn the things that you need to learn in order to be confident in your skill set and to turn your data into an actionable deliverable for your client. So you don't have to have any background in construction. We walk you through that relative to solar and roofing, that is.
Yeah. You'll be able to be a general contractor, I think, by the time you're done with the course, right? So,
Yeah, right.
Keith, Drone to 1K helped me immensely. That was great. I need to just screenshot these for when I go to talk about Drone to 1K later. All right. Customers are wanting to see hard copies of insurance instead of from apps. Is that true? Robin, little tidbit. I'll give you a sneak peek that we teach in the Drone to 1K course, but you can find this out too if you talk to these companies. So for instance, on-demand drone insurance companies such as Skywatch.ai, they're my favorite. When you get your insurance, let's say you say, how I'm going to pay for insurance for this area for this time frame, you pay for it. It's usually like anywhere from 10 to 15 bucks an hour for like $1 million in liability. Once you do that, they will send you a certificate of insurance that you can like print and have a hard copy to say, I am insured for this location for these time frames. You can also add the company as an additionally insured. I know a lot of construction companies will make you do that. So also Skyward has really good customer service. So if you say, hey guys, they have a team that handles like, hey, I have this job. Here are the insurance requirements. Please help me get this set up. They will like get you set up for that date, that time, that area. Put that company on the certificate, like get you legitimized so you can print that off and like take it to the client. So,
you know what, David, if I could,
yep.
I'm sorry,
Sure.
I interrupted you again. I have a really bad habit. My apologies.
No, it's fine. No, I told you cut in whenever. I mean, so I use Skywatch for that, but I'm sure there's some other drone insurance or just normal insurance companies that would do something similar. But Sinuhe, what are you gonna say?
Well, depending on how many flights you're doing, Robin, I stopped using a long time ago. I stopped using on-demand insurance because I started adding the cost. I don't have it off the top of my head, so please reach out to me, Montoya, SMONTOYA at DroneQuote.net. And you know what, David, I think it might be worth putting it into the course as an add-on detail somewhere in the notes. I have an insurance broker that I found who I send my pilots to, and we have our own insurance with. I want to say it's $59 a month, and it gives me coverage for the entire month, and it's on a month-to-month basis.
Nice.
So remind me about that, and I'll follow up with you with the information we put into the course. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the on-demand is good if you're only doing like, let's say 2 flights a month, something like that, right? So I talked to the Skywatch people, and I keep talking about them. They don't pay me. I'm not affiliated with them officially or anything. I use them and have liked them. They also offer monthly insurance. If you want to do like instead of on demand, just do monthly. It'll cover the drone if you crash it and liability and things like that. I don't know what their pricing is, but you can shop that around too. But other on demand drone insurance are why am I forgetting it? It's the other one that was the on demand one. Crap. It was Skywatch and
that's what it was.
Anyways, there was another one. You can just type in on-demand drone insurance. I'm sure it'll pop up. But yeah, hope that helps you with that question, Robin. Scott, what's the best software to use for roof inspections? I mean, I guess it depends on exactly what you're talking about. For the Ortho Mosaic stuff, we use Drone Deploy for the automated flight, and then we use Maps Made Easy for the image processing, and then DroneQuote measure for the roof reporting tool. If that helps. Are there any Part 107 deals? I think I mentioned earlier, if you use Flying 50, the code Flying 50, it'll get you $50 off. We're also doing a thing where we're going to start doing, we have like an audiobook that we created. I recorded, it was 8 hours long. That was brutal to record. And a 100-page ebook and flashcards. I think we're going to run a deal where we're including all that stuff for free with the course. I think it was a little more than 118 though, but email the support at dronelaunchacademy.com and see what deals you can talk George into giving you. Let's see. I tell him he can give people deals. Where's my Coke? Rick. Oh, you're a drone to 1K. Remember, I can tell because you can tell it's just sparkling water. I don't know if you tell. I'm trying to trim down over here, Rick. I don't want to die too young. All right. Will solar show automatically in my courses? Miguel, yes, sorry. I don't know if you heard me earlier, but we're going to manually add that probably later tonight and tomorrow because that one is not linked up. Because you got to like sort out the first 100. I didn't want to like try to write that into software or something that would have taken too much time, not would have been worth the effort. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Verifly. Thank you, everyone. Verifly. Everybody's answering my question here. Yeah, Verifly was the other one I was trying to remember. Let's see here. Oh, this guy uses Skywatch, and so $1 million or gal. Sorry, it's a picture of a piano. I use Skywatch 1 million and liability and hull $76 a month. Okay, so that protects the drone if it crashes, and liability for $76 a month. So not too bad. What's up, Christopher? All right, good to see you. Audiobook #1, great job. All right, thanks, Randy. Yeah, that was. I think I recorded that audiobook over the course of about a year. I would do like little chunks at a time. Finally finished it. Rick Young, love the 1K course. All right, awesome, cool. Okay, Audrey, he's got some comments here for all of us. I'll be emailing the first 10 people who signed up tomorrow with more information about the coaching call. Cool. All right, man, we're a kid week eclipse 2 hours. You know. All right, if there's any other questions, great. Oh, here we go. Which course is the add-on for the insurance going to be on? Oh, you said add it to the course. We could add some insurance stuff to the roofing course if that would help you guys. We have it in other courses already, so we could create a little module there. We do have a YouTube video on drone insurance. It's a little bit more of an overview of all your different options and the different providers that are out there and what to do if your drone crashes and some of that stuff. So you just type in Drone Launch Academy drone insurance on YouTube, it'll come up. It might say 2019 or 2020 on the video, but it's still the same information right now. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm gonna hang it up. My neck's hurting. I keep coughing. I need more water. I need to go to sleep.
Is the gentleman from the UK still on? Mad props to him if he is.
Yeah, I know. It's what, 3 a.m. there now? Yeah. If you're still on, let me know, and I will send you a free t-shirt. You've got about 30 seconds to reply because I'm about to get on. All right. But we will send out the replay tomorrow. If for those of you, if you've made it this far in the replay, I'm amazed. But we'll send out the replay tomorrow, and the deal for the $200 off plus the solar course for the first 100 will be good till Friday. Thank you all so much for joining us. I like doing these with you all. Sinuhe, thanks for bearing with me this whole time. And there goes my camera again. There we go. Sinuhe, thanks for bearing with me. And
my pleasure.
Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.